Hello everyone, I'm Irem. Welcome to Common Mistakes in German course. German is one of the most commonly used languages in Europe. It is spoken in 6 countries officially, and worldwide it is spoken by approximately 200 million people. It seems hard, but when you understand the logic, it is easier than you think. German has common words in English. Some of them are similar, but some of them are not. When we think English, some of the mistakes are inevitable. So, how can we avoid these mistakes? Our course, Learn German Common Mistakes, comes into play here. In this course, you will learn the common mistakes that German learners make and how to avoid them. These mistakes are categorized into 5 sections, and these are false friends, preposition mistakes, translation mistakes, spelled same but mean different nouns, and accusative dative case problem. After each lesson, there is a quiz to overlearn, and at the end of the course, a practice test is waiting for you. All you need to take this course: English knowledge, basic German knowledge, and willingness to learn. If you don't want to make mistakes and speak fluently German, let's get started. Hello and welcome to Common Mistakes in German. If you're ready to learn one of the common mistakes, let's get started. Today we will learn the definition of false friends, and I will give 3 examples to understand the meaning of false friends better. It's an introduction lesson. In the following lesson, I will give examples with sentences. Let's start with the definition of false friends. False friends are the words that look similar, sound similar, but mean different in different languages. Today we will learn commonly confused words in German and English because false friends. Let's get started. For example, gift and das Gift. As you can see here, they look similar, they sound similar, but they mean completely different. Gift means present in English, but not in German. It means poison. Be careful about that. That is the exact definition of false friends. Let's do another. See and der See. German learners think automatically der See means sea, but it is false. It means lake. The last one is brennt and der Brand. For example, Amazon, Facebook, Google, or so on. But der Brand means fire, not brand. That's why be careful about that. Of course, there are many false friends in English and in German. Please do not forget to take a look at the additional resource to find more false friends in German and in English. Thank you for attending this class, and I will see you in the next common mistakes. Bye! Hello and welcome to Common Mistakes in German. If you are ready to learn one of the common mistakes, let's get started. Today we will learn one of the false friends and the real meanings, and I will give examples to help you understand the subject better. Today we will learn the difference between studieren and lernen. At first I want to explain what false friends means, then we will talk about the difference of these verbs. False friends is a common expression used to describe the words in different languages which look similar, sound similar, but mean different. And studieren is one of the false friends between German and English. Studieren means to study. As you can see here, they can be easily confused because they have similar meanings and similar spelling. But it is only used to study at a university, not for an exam. In German, to study for an exam, there is another verb, which is lernen. Lernen has 2 different meanings. One of them is to learn, the other one is to study. This verb should be used when the one is preparing himself for an exam or study for a lesson. It is also used when we learn something, for example, a language, or to play something. At first, I want to show you why these two verbs are commonly confused, then give some examples. Let's start. Was machst du? Ich, Deutsch. In English, what are you doing? I am studying German. When we don't think the context, the real meaning, then automatically we put here studiere. Because studieren means to study, and I am studying German, then it must be studieren. But it is false. Why? Because we are not studying German at a university in this sentence. We are now studying German to improve ourselves. The correct form of this sentence must be Ich lerne Deutsch. The both of them means I'm studying German. But when I say Ich studiere Deutsch, this means I am a student at a university, and in this university I am studying German. But in this sentence, I am studying German for my exam, for example. That's why studieren cannot be used. In English, this sentence means he is studying for his driver's test. When we think in English, then it must be automatically studiert. Why? Because he is studying for something. But it is false. Why? Because when we are studying for something, lernen must be used, not studieren. Studieren is used only for a college, not for an exam. Now let's see the correct usage of these two verbs. Ich studiere Chemie. I study chemistry. This sentence means I am a student, graduate or undergraduate at a university, and I am studying chemistry. That's the meaning. I can also say Ich lerne Chemie. It means I'm studying chemistry, which means I have a class tomorrow or I have homework to do, and now that's why Ich lerne Chemie. Another example. Sie studiert an der Universität München. She is studying at the University of Munich. She is a student at a university. That's why we use studieren. Seit 2 Jahren lernen wir Deutsch. We have been learning German for 2 years. In this sentence, lernen is used to say to learn, not to study. Another example. Ich studiere Deutsch means I study German, which means I'm a student and I study German at a university. But when I say Ich lerne Deutsch, it has 2 different meanings. One of them is I'm studying German, I have a class tomorrow, I have a homework to do, I have an exam, that's why I am studying German, or I am learning German. This sentence has 2 different meanings. Be careful about that. Another example, sie hat Ingenieurwesen studiert. She studied engineering. She went to a college and she studied engineering at a university. Ich lerne Ukulele spielen means I am learning to play the ukulele. When we learn something to do, for example, play guitar, play a piano, dancing, or anything you can imagine, then lernen can be used. Okay, so far we have learned the difference studieren and lernen. Now it's activity time. I want you to pause the video and try to guess the answer. The answer can be studieren or lernen. Let's get started. In English, I did not study or I did not go to a college. What do you think is the answer? studieren or lernen. It must be studieren. Why? Because it's about going to college, being enrolled at a university. That's why studieren must be used. Another example. Ich habe keine Zeit. Ich muss für meine Prüfung. In English, I don't have time. I have to study for my exam. What do you think is the answer? Let's check it out. It must be lernen. Why? Because we are studying for an exam, not at a university. Let's make another one. I have been learning English for 3 years. What do you think is the answer? It must be lernen. Why? Because we have been learning something. It's about learning, not studying. It's about learning something. The last one, I studied English. The answer is studieren. Why? Because we have studied English at a university. In this lesson, we have learned the difference between studieren and lernen. We also learned why it is commonly confused by German learners. Studieren means to study, but at a university, as a student. Lernen means to learn, also to study, but for an exam, for a class. Thank you for attending this class. I hope the difference between studieren and lernen is a bit more understandable for you. Please do not forget to take the test at the end of this lesson, and I will see you in next common mistakes. Bye! Hello and welcome to Common Mistakes in German. If you're ready to learn one of the common mistakes, let's get started. Today we will learn one of the false friends, and I will give examples to help you understand the subject better. Today we will learn the difference between bekommen and werden. Bekommen means to get, to receive. It is used when a post, a packet, or a news got. Because it is written similar to verb to become, people commonly think that they have the same meaning, but it is false. Werden means to become in German. It has also another meanings and usage, but today we will focus on the meaning to become, not the others. At first, I want to show you why these two verbs are commonly confused, then give some examples. When we look at the translation of this sentence, it means, my brother wants to become a soccer player. When we think in English, we automatically think that the verb must be bekommen, but it is false because bekommen means to get, to receive. What is the correct form of this sentence? It must be with werden because werden means to become. In English, this sentence means I become 29 years old next week. When we think in English, then we automatically think that the answer must be bekomme, but it is also false. Why? Because bekommen means to get or to receive, not to become. That's why the correct form of this sentence must be with werden, not with bekommen. By these two examples, I wanted to show you why these verbs are commonly confused. Now it is time to look at another examples. Ich habe heute einen Brief bekommen means I got a letter today. You can see in this sentence the correct usage of the verb bekommen, which means to get or to receive. Ich bin krank geworden means I will become ill. The second form of verb werden is geworden. Meine beste Freundin hat ein Baby bekommen. Means my best friend just had a baby. Ein Baby bekommen is a phrase commonly used to say have a baby in German. Sie ist Mutter geworden means she became a mother. Another example, wir bekommen kein Geld. We don't get any money. Here we want to say get, that's why we use bekommen. Another example, als ich ein Kind war, wollte ich Lehrerin werden. Means, when I was a kid, I wanted to become a teacher. Here, to say become, we don't use bekommen, but werden. Hast du gestern eine Packung bekommen? Did you get a package yesterday? Let's make another example with werden. Morgen wird meine Tochter 18 Jahre alt. My daughter will become 18 tomorrow. Okay, so far we have learned the difference between bekommen and werden. Now it's an activity time. I want you to pause the video and try to guess the answer. The answer can be werden or bekommen. In English, this sentence means my son wants to become an engineer. What do you think is the answer? It must be wird. Why? Because in English, the verb become is used. Ist Vater. And the meaning of this sentence, he became a father. What do you think is the answer? Let's check it out. Geworden. Why? Because here the meaning is about becoming something. That's why in German werden must be used. Another example. Ich habe eine E-Mail. And this sentence means I received an email or I got an email. What do you think is the answer? It must be bekommen. Why? Because we are receiving, we are getting something. That's why bekommen must be used. Another example. This sentence means he got lots of presents. What do you think is the answer? It must be bekommen. Because the sentence in the past, preteritum is used in this sentence. So, in this lesson, we have learned the difference between bekommen and werden, and also why these two verbs are commonly confused. To sum up, bekommen means to get or to receive. When we get a package, an email, gifts or something, then bekommen is used in German. Werden means to become. When we want to become something, then werden must be used. Thank you for attending this lesson. I hope the difference between werden and bekommen is a bit more understandable for you. Please do not forget to take the test at the end of this lesson to reinforce the information that we learned in this section. I will see you in the next common mistakes. Bye! Hello and welcome to Common Mistakes in German. If you're ready to learn one of the common mistakes, let's get started. Today we will learn one of the confused prepositions in German, and I will give some examples to help you understand the subject better. In this lesson, we will learn the difference between Nach Hause and zu Hause. Let's start with Nach Hause. Nach Hause means home. There is a direction here. It is commonly used with the verbs gehen, which means to go, fahren, which means to drive, and kommen, which means to come. Normally, das Haus means home, but in Old German the words with der and das article has an extra e ending when they used with dative case. That's why it is nach Hause, not nach Haus. Zu Hause means at home. It gives location. It is commonly used with the verbs sein, which means to be, and bleiben, which means to stay. I think the meaning of Nach Hause and zu Hause is obvious, but why is commonly confused by German learners? In German, normally zu is used to give direction. That's why it is commonly used to say home. At first, I want to show you the common mistake, then I will give you another examples about the usage of Nach Hause and zu Hause. I'm going home. I want to say I'm going home in German. What is the answer? Zu or nach? In general, German learners think it's zu, but it is false because, as I said before, zu Hause means at home. That's why this sentence has no meaning. When we want to translate, I'm going at home, and it makes no sense. The right form of this sentence is Ich gehe nach Hause, which means I'm going home. This is a mistake that German learners commonly make. Muss nach Hause gehen. He has to go home. Ist zu Hause. He is at home. Nach Hause, home. Zu Hause, at home. Another example. Wann seid ihr gestern nach Hause gekommen? When did you get home yesterday? Seit dem 12. April sind wir zu Hause. We have been home since April 12th. Another one. Wohin fährst du? Nach Hause. Where are you going? Home. In the answer part, we don't need to use any verb because we know that it's fahren. Wo bist du? Where are you? Zu Hause. At home. That is the main difference. Ich fahre mit dem Zug nach Hause. I'm taking the train home. Niemand ist zu Hause. Niemand ist zu Hause. Nobody is home. There is nobody at home. The other one, ich fahre nach Hause. I'm driving home. Ich habe meine Schlüssel zu Hause vergessen. I forgot my keys at home. Meine Schwester ist krank. Wir müssen nach Hause gehen. My sister is sick. We have to go home. And the last one, ich habe keine Lust. Ich werde zu Hause bleiben. I'm not in the mood. I'll stay at home. So far, we have learned the difference between zu Hause and nach Hause. Now it's activity time. I want you to pause the video and try to guess the answer. It is nach or zu. Let's start. In English, are you going home? What do you think is the answer? The answer is nach Hause. There is a direction here, not a location. Another one, he is waiting for me at home. What do you think is the answer? Zu Hause. Why? Because it gives location, at home. Another one, I'm going home. The answer is nach Hause. There's a direction here. Another one, ich bin, which means I am at home. Let's check it out. Zu Hause. Why? Because zu Hause means at home. It gives location. Another one, can I please go home? What do you think is the answer? Yeah, nach Hause. Why? Because there is a direction. We are going home. The last one, we have to stay home. What do you think is the answer? Zu Hause. Why? Because we are giving location, not direction. In this lesson, we have learned the difference between nach Hause and zu Hause. Nach Hause means home, which gives direction. When I go home when I am driving home, then nach Hause must be used. But zu Hause means at home. It gives location. When I stay home or when I'm at home, then zu Hause must be used in German. Thank you for attending this class. I hope the difference between these two is a bit more understandable for you. Please do not forget to take the test at the end of this lesson. I'll see you in the next common mistakes. Bye! Hello and welcome to Common Mistakes in German. If you are ready to learn one of the common mistakes, let's get started. Today we will learn preposition mistakes to say years in German, and I will give examples to help you understand the subject better. Let's start. In German, there are two different ways to say years. One of them is only with numbers, for example, 1990, and the other one is with the word year, which is das Jahr in German. When we think in English, it is automatically used with im or in, no matter we have the word year or not, but it is false. In German, when the year is said only with numbers, then there is no need any preposition. It's only the year. But when we want to emphasize the word year, then it is used with im. Why not in? Because normally in dem Jahr, and instead of saying in dem, im is used. Let's do some examples to understand the difference better. Ich war 1985 in Berlin. I was in Berlin in 1985. As you can see here, there is no any preposition. Why? Because we are indicating the year only with numbers. The sentence is also can be used as Ich war im Jahr 1985 in Berlin, which also means I was in Berlin in 1985. Can you see the difference between them? When there is a year only with numbers, then there is no preposition. But when we are emphasizing the word year, which is Jahr in German, then im must be used. Let's do another. Im Jahr 2002 habe ich 5 Kilo abgenommen. I lost 5 kilos in 2002. We can also say 2002 habe ich 5 Kilo abgenommen, which also means I lost 5 kilos in 2002. Let's do another. Wir sind im Jahr 2011 ins Konzert gegangen. We went to the concert in 2011. As you can see here, because we are indicating the year with the word Jahr, im was used. Another one, meine Familie ist 1996 nach Deutschland gezogen. My family moved to Germany in 1996. Meine Oma ist im Jahr 2016 gestorben. My grandmother died in 2016. 2005 war ich arbeitslos. I was unemployed in 2005. Can you see the difference? Of course, we can make the sentence without im Jahr or with im Jahr. There is no significant difference between them. But when we want to emphasize the Jahr, then im must be used. But when we only want to say the years without anything, then there is no any preposition. So, we have learned so far when we have to use im and not when we want to say years in German. Now it's an activity time. I want you to pause the video and try to guess the answer. What can be the answer? Im or nothing? Let's start. In English, I worked in Germany in 2015. What do you think is the answer? It must be im. Why? Because here we are emphasizing ja. That's why im must be used. Another one, ich habe 2015 in Deutschland gearbeitet. It also means I worked in Germany in 2015. What do you think is the answer? Nothing, because the year is only given by numbers. There is no name before that. That's why we don't need any preposition here. We stayed at home in 2020. What do you think is the answer? Nothing, because there is no name here. That's why we don't need any preposition. This sentence also means we stayed at home in 2020. What do you think is the answer? Im. Why? Because before the year we use Jahr. That's why im must be used. There are two different ways to say years in German. One of them is only with numbers and the other one is with Jahr. When we don't use any name before the year, then we don't need any preposition. But when we are using the word Jahr, which means year in German, then we need to use the preposition im before that. Thank you for attending this class. I hope saying years in German is a little bit understandable for you. Please do not forget to take the test at the end of this lesson. And I'll see you in the next Common Mistakes. Bye! Hello and welcome to Common Mistakes in German. If you are ready to learn one of the common mistakes, let's get started. Today we will learn one of the confused pronouns because of translation in German, and I will give examples to help you understand the subject better. Today we will learn the difference between Jede and alle. Let's start with Jede. Jede is a pronoun meaning every and it's singular. It is used when we describe a routine. Depending on the case and the article of the name, it may have an extra ending. For example, if the name has a der article and it's in accusative case, then jeden must be used. It is generally used to say every day, every year, every summer, or every week. For example, jede Stunde, every hour, jeden Tag, every day, jedes Wochenende, every weekend, jede Woche, every week, jeden Monat, every month, and jedes Jahr, every year. As you can see here, except jede Stunde and jede Woche, jede has an extra ending. This is because the case and the article of the name. Normally, der Tag, and in accusative case, it's den Tag, that's why jeden Tag. Or das Wochenende, in accusative case, also das Wochenende, that's why jedes Wochenende. This explanation is also valid for jeden Monat and jedes Jahr. Let's talk about alle. Alle is also a pronoun meaning every, but it is plural. It is also used when describing a routine. For example, every 3 days, every 2 years, or every 2 months. For example, alle 2 Stunden, every 2 hours. Alle 3 Tage, every 3 days. Alle 2 Wochen, every 2 weeks. Alle 6 Monate, every 6 months. Alle 2 Jahre, every 2 years. As you can see here, all the words are plural, not singular, because it is more than 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, anything, but not 1. Because alle is plural, there is no need to use any extra ending. Be careful about that. Okay, we have learned the difference between jede and alle. But to understand a little bit more, we have to do some exercises. Now we will compare the usage of these two pronouns. Ich gehe jeden Tag spazieren. I go for a walk every day. But when I say ich gehe alle 2 Tage spazieren, then it means I go for a walk every other day. Not every day, every other day. When I want to say every day, jeden Tag must be used. But when I want to say every other day, every 3 days, every 4 days, no matter the number, alle must be used. And don't forget to make the word plural, not singular. Let's do another. Ich treibe jeden Tag Sport. I do sports every day. But when I say ich treibe alle 4 Tage Sport, then it means I do sports every 4 days, not every day. Let's do another. Wir gehen jedes Wochenende in die Innenstadt. We go downtown every weekend. That's a routine for us that we do every weekend. Another example. Wir gehen alle 2 Wochen in die Innenstadt. We go downtown every 2 weeks. For example, I went to downtown this week, then I don't go there next week because I go there every 2 weeks. Another one. Lässt sich jeden Monat die Haare schneiden. He gets his haircut every month. How can I say when I don't get my haircut every month, but every 6 months? Lässt sich alle 6 Monate die Haare schneiden. Means he gets his haircut every 6 months. Can you see the difference between these sentences? Both means every, but with jede, it must be every month, every day, every hour, and so on. And it must be singular. But in alle, it must be plural, and that's why more than one. We need a number in front of the name. The other one, meine Mutter ruft mich jede Stunde, means my mother calls me every hour. Meine Mutter ruft mich alle 4 Stunden means my mother calls me every 4 hours. Ich putze mir jeden Tag die Zähne. I brush my teeth every day. But when I want to give more details, then I can say ich putze mir alle 6 Stunden die Zähne, which means I brush my teeth every 6 hours. Wir fliegen jeden Monat in die Schweiz, means we fly to Switzerland every month. But what if we do it only twice a year? How can we say that? Wir fliegen alle 6 Monate in die Schweiz means we fly to Switzerland every 6 months, which means twice a year, actually. Okay, so far we have learned the difference jede and alle. Now it's time to check out what we have learned today. So please pause the video and try to guess the answer. Please at first decide on the answer is jede or alle. If you have decided on jede, please think about the ending. The sentence means I play tennis every day. What do you think is the answer? Let's check it out. Jeden. Why? Because I do it every day. It's a singular and because der Tag, it must be used as jeden Tag. Why jeden? Because it's der Tag and it's accusative case, and in accusative case der is den, that's why jeden must be used. The other one, I play tennis every other day. What do you think is the answer? Let's check it out. Alle. Why? Because it's plural. I don't do it every day, but every other day, every 2 days. I fly abroad every year. What is the answer? Jedes Jahr. Why? Because I do it every year. It's a routine for me. Why jedes, not jede? Because das Jahr and it's accusative case. And in accusative case, das is also das. That's why jedes must be used. The meaning of this sentence is I go abroad every 2 years. What is the answer? Alle. Why? Because it's not every year, but more than one. every 2 years, every 3 years, every 4 years. It must be used with alle. To sum up, jede and alle mean every, but jede is singular, alle is plural. For example, when I want to say every summer, every day, every hour, then jede must be used in German. But when I want to say every 6 hours, every 6 months, every 2 years, then alle must be used in German. Even though alle has no extra ending, jede has. Don't forget about that. It's all about accusative case. In accusative case, only the article der changes into den. Das and die stays the same. That's why when the name has der article, it must be used with jeden. When the name has das article, then it must be used with jedes. When the name has die article, then it must be used with jede. Don't forget about that. Thank you for attending this class. I hope the difference between alle and jede is a bit more understandable for you. Please do not forget to take the test at the end of this lesson. And I'll see you in the next common mistakes. Bye! Hello and welcome to Common Mistakes in German. If you are ready to learn one of the common mistakes, let's get started. Today we will learn one of the confused verbs because of translation in German, and I will give examples to help you understand the subject better. Today we will learn the difference between kennen and wissen. Let's start with kennen. Kennen is a verb which means to know in German, and it is used with accusative case. It is used when you know the difference between the objects, a film, a play, or a person. For instance, do you know Tom? Do you know who is he? Or do you know this film? Have you ever heard about this film, for example? Or I do not know him, or I don't know him. In this case, in German, kennen is used. Let's do German examples. For example, kennst du meinen Vater? Do you know my father? In this case, kennen is used. It's about knowing a person. Sie kennt mich nicht. She doesn't know me. It's also about knowing a person. That's why kennen is used. Or, for example, kennst du den Weg zur Schule? Which means, do you know the way to school? It's about knowing to go somewhere else. That's why kennen is used. Or, kennst du ihn? Do you know him? It's also a knowledge about someone else. Or, ich kenne dieses Spiel, which means, I know this game, I have heard about it, or I have already played that. That's why I know it. In this case, kennen is used to say know in German. Or, kennst du den Unterschied zwischen nicht und nichts? Do you know the difference between not and nothing? When there's a question about knowing the difference between the objects, then kennen must be used. Let's talk about wissen. Wissen is also a verb which also means to know in German, and it is generally used with subordinate clauses. For example, with das. But when we talk about knowledge, information, or scientific information, wissen must be used. At first, I would like to give you the common expressions that are used with wissen. Ich weiß das. I know that. Ich weiß es nicht. I don't know. Or ich weiß nicht. It also means I don't know. Or ich wusste das. I knew that. Ich wusste es nicht. I didn't know it. Ich wusste nicht. I did not know. Wissen is generally used in the past tense with Präteritum in German. Let's do some examples. Ich weiß nicht, was du willst. I don't know what you want. It's about knowing information. That's why wissen is used. Wusstest du, dass sie in Berlin lebt? Did you know that she lives in Berlin? It's also about knowledge of something. That's why wissen is used. Or ich weiß, dass krank ist. I have information about his sickness. I know that. That's why wissen is used. Or ich weiß, dass Deutsch schwierig ist. I know that German is difficult. Which means I know the difficulties of German language. Or ich wusste nicht, dass ich ein Visum brauche. I didn't know I needed a visa. For example, I want to travel to foreign countries, but I didn't know that I needed a visa. To go some countries, visa is required. That's a reality. That's why wissen must be used in this case. Another example. Sie weiß nicht, dass ich in sie verliebt bin. Means she doesn't know I'm in love with her. It's about knowing information. That's why wissen is used. Okay, so far we have learned the difference between kennen and wissen. Now it's an activity time. I want you to pause the video and try to guess the answer. It can be kennen or wissen. Let's take a look. I don't know what to do. To say that, which must be used in German? Wissen or kennen? Weiß. Why? Because it's about a knowledge, for example, not about knowing a play or someone. That's why wissen must be used. Another one, do you know the movie? What do you think is the answer? Kennen. Why? Because it's about knowing movie. I know your brother. What do you think is the answer? Let's check it out. Kenne. Why? Because it's about knowing someone. When we are knowing someone, kennen must be used. The other one, I know you don't love me anymore. What do you think is the answer? Weiß. Why? Because knowing the reality. That's why wissen must be used. To sum up, kennen and wissen mean to know in German. But when we know someone, or when we know a play, a film, or when we know the difference between some things, then kennen is used in German. But when we know information, knowledge, or scientific knowledge, or real things, for example, loving someone, or don't know what to do, then wissen must be used in German. Thank you for attending this class. Please do not forget to take the test at the end of this lesson. And I'll see you in the next Common Mistakes. Bye! Hello and welcome to Common Mistakes in German. If you are ready to learn one of the common mistakes, let's get started. Today we will learn one of the confused expressions because of translation, and I will give examples to help you understand the subject better. In German, adjectives are used to express feelings, but when these adjectives are used with ich bin to express feelings, it can have different meanings. Let's take a look at first the commonly used adjectives to express feelings in German. Heiß, hot, kalt, cold, gut, good, schlecht, bad, langweilig, boring. Ich bin kalt means I am cold, but it doesn't mean I feel cold. It means I'm a cold person. That's why to say I feel cold, ich bin kalt, cannot be used. It is false. The right form of this sentence is mir ist kalt, which also means I am cold, but I feel cold. Let's do another. Ich bin heiß means I'm hot, but it doesn't mean I feel hot. It means I'm a hot person. I feel sexy. That's why to say I feel hot, ich bin heiß cannot be used. The right form of this sentence is Mir ist heiß, which means I'm hot, but I feel hot because of the weather. Okay? Let's do another. Ich bin langweilig means I'm boring. It is also commonly confused expression in English, which means I'm a boring person. To say I'm bored, mir ist langweilig must be used, which means I'm bored, not I'm boring. Be careful about that. Let's do another. Ich bin gut means I'm good, but it cannot be used to express feelings. It means, for example, I'm good at something. For example, maths. For example, dancing. To say I'm good, I feel myself good, mir geht es gut is used, which means I'm good, I feel good. It also valid for ich bin schlecht. When I say ich bin schlecht, it means I'm bad, but I'm bad at something. For example, dancing, for example, reading, or something else. To say I feel myself bad, mir geht es schlecht, must be used. It means I'm bad, but I feel bad. That's the main difference. In this lesson, we have learned the commonly confused sentences to express feelings. Thank you for attending this class, and please do not forget. Hello and welcome to Common Mistakes in German. If you are ready to learn one of the common mistakes, let's get started. Today we will learn one of the confused words because of the same spelling in German, and I will give examples to help you understand the subject better. Today we will learn the difference between nicht and nichts. Nicht is an adverb, means not. Nichts is a pronoun, means nothing or not anything. As you can see here, both are negation. They are used to make the sentence negative. They can be easily confused because they have similar spelling. An extra letter at the end of the word can change the whole meaning. Let's do some exercises. Ich habe Sie nicht verstanden. I did not understand you. As you can see here, nicht is used to give the meaning not. But when I say ich habe nichts verstanden, then it means I did not get anything. As you can see here, nicht means not anything. Can you see the difference between nicht and nichts? If not, let's do another example. Sie möchte nicht essen means she doesn't want to eat. Sie möchte nichts essen means she doesn't want to eat anything. There is a difference between them. Let's do another example. Hat seine Hausaufgaben nicht gemacht. He didn't do his homework. We are using nicht to make the sentence negative, the verb. Hat heute nichts gemacht means he did nothing today. Here, nichts means nothing. Another example. Hast du mir etwas gesagt? Ich konnte dich nicht hören. Did you tell me something? I couldn't hear you. Nein, ich habe nichts gesagt. No, I did not say anything. So far, we have learned the difference between nicht and nichts. Now, it's an activity time. I want you to pause the video and try to guess the answer. The answer can be nicht or nichts. Mein Vater hat mich gehört. This sentence means my father didn't hear me. What do you think is the answer? nicht. Why? Because here we are negating the verb. And we want to say did not. Another exercise, kan hören. He can't hear anything. What do you think is the answer? Nicht or nichts? It must be nichts. Why? Because he can't hear anything. Here, the meaning is not anything. That's why we must use nichts. Another exercise. Hier darf man trinken. It is not allowed to drink anything here. What do you think is the answer? Nicht or nichts? Let's check it out. The answer must be nichts. Why? Because the meaning includes not anything, which means nichts in German. Another exercise. Hier darf man rauchen. It is not allowed to smoke here. What do you think is the answer? Nicht or nichts? The answer is nicht, because here the meaning is not. In this lesson, we have learned the difference between nicht and nichts. To sum up, nicht means not, nichts means nothing or not anything. Thank you for attending this class. I hope the difference between these two is a bit more understandable for you. Please do not forget to take the test at the end of this lesson. I'll see you in the next Common Mistakes. Bye! Hello and welcome to Common Mistakes in German. If you are ready to learn one of the common mistakes, let's get started. Today we will learn one of the confused words because of the same spelling in German, and I will give examples to help you understand the subject better. Today we will learn the difference between gerne and gern. Let's take a look. Gern and gerne are adverbs, and they mean with pleasure or gladly. Even though there is an extra e at the end of the gerne, they are exchangeable, which means there is no difference between them. Both of them can be used. Let's do some examples. Was machst du gern in deiner Freizeit? Means, what do you like to do in your spare time? I can also say, was machst du gerne in deiner Freizeit? It also means, what do you like to do in your spare time or in your free time? As you can see here, there is no difference between gern and gerne. Another one, ich spiele gern Klavier, means I like to play piano. I can also say ich spiele gerne Klavier, which also means I like to play piano. Let's do another example. Ich hätte gern eine Pizza bitte. I would like a pizza please. I can also say ich hätte gerne eine Pizza bitte. It also means I would like a pizza please. Let's do another. Was isst du gern means what do you like to eat? Ich esse gern Pommes. I like to eat French fries. In this sentence, I used gern. You can also use gerne in these sentences. Ich helfe dir gern means I help you with pleasure. I can also say ich helfe dir gerne. I help you with pleasure. Let's do another. Kommst du mit mir? Are you coming with me? Ja, gern. Or ja, gerne. Means yes, sure. Or yes, gladly. Let's do another. Danke für deine Hilfe. Thanks for your help. Gerne means with pleasure, but gern geschehen means you are welcome. In this case, I want to point out something. Gern geschehen is generally used with gern, not with gerne. To sum up, gern and gerne are adverbs and they mean with pleasure. Because there is no difference between them, I did not do any activity in this class. Thank you for attending this class and I'll see you in the next Common Mistakes. Bye! Hello and welcome to Common Mistakes in German. If you are ready to learn one of the common mistakes, let's get started. Today we will learn confused verbs because of the same spelling in German, and I will give examples to help you understand the subject better. Today we will not only learn the difference between morgen and der Morgen, but also the meaning of morgens and morgen früh. Let's start with morgen. Der Morgen is a noun which means morning in German, and it is commonly used with the preposition an. And because it specifies time, after the preposition an, dative case must be used. Der is dem in dative case. That's why it's commonly used as am. Am Morgen means in the morning in German. For example, ich habe am Morgen einen Unterricht means I have a class in the morning. Or ich muss am Morgen los means I have to leave in the morning. Er ist am Morgen gegangen means he left in the morning. Another one, am Morgen hatte ich einen Termin means I had an appointment in the morning. Let's talk about morgens. Morgens means in the mornings or every morning. It is generally used to describe a routine. For example, when I do something every morning, then morgens must be used. It is written with lowercase because it's an adverb, and it is not used with a preposition because it's an adverb. For example, er geht morgens in den Wald spazieren means he walks into the forest in the mornings or every morning. It's a routine for him, he does it every morning. That's why morgens must be used. Another one, ich mache morgens Yoga means I do yoga in the mornings or every morning. Another one, ich dusche morgens, I shower in the mornings. Or ich frühstücke morgens mit meiner Familie means I have breakfast with my family in the mornings or every morning. So far we have learned der Morgen and morgens. Let's talk about morgen. Morgen is also an adverb, but it means tomorrow. It is also written with lowercase and it is not used with a preposition because it's an adverb. Let's do an example. Er hat morgen einen Unterricht means he has a class tomorrow. Or ich muss morgen zum Arzt gehen. I have to visit the doctor tomorrow. Sie hat morgen einen Vorstellungsgespräch means she has a job interview tomorrow. Ich kann morgen mit dir nicht frühstücken. I can't have breakfast with you tomorrow. Morgens with S at the end of the word means in the mornings, every morning. But morgen without S means tomorrow. Let's talk about morgen früh. Morgen früh is also an adverb, but it means tomorrow morning. Because it's an adverb, it is not used with a preposition. Ich habe morgen früh einen Termin means I have an appointment tomorrow morning. Or, mein Mann hat morgen früh ein Treffen. My husband has a meeting tomorrow morning. Or, er kommt morgen früh, which means he is coming tomorrow morning. Okay, so far we have learned the difference between der Morgen, morgens, morgen and morgen früh. Now it's an activity time. I want you to pause the video and try to guess the answer. The answer can be am Morgen, morgens, morgen or morgen früh. Ich besuche meine Oma means I visit my grandma in the morning. What do you think is the answer? Am Morgen. Why? Because it's in the morning. I visit my grandma every morning. What do you think is the answer? Morgens. Why? Because it's every morning. I'll visit my grandma tomorrow. What is the answer? Yeah, morgen. Why? Because morgen means tomorrow in German. Another one? I'll visit my grandma tomorrow morning. What is the answer? Let's check it out. Morgen früh. Why? Because morgen früh means tomorrow morning. Let's do another exercise. I exercise in the mornings. What is the answer? Yeah, morgens. Why? Because I do it every morning. I'll exercise tomorrow morning. What do you think is the answer? Ich mache morgen früh Sport. Why? Because morgen früh means tomorrow morning. Another one, I exercise in the morning. What is the answer? Am Morgen. Why? Because it's in the morning. The last one is I'll exercise tomorrow. What do you think is the answer? Yeah, morgen. Why? Morgen means tomorrow. To sum up, der Morgen means morning. Am Morgen means in the morning. Morgens, in the mornings or every morning. Morgen means tomorrow, but morgen früh means tomorrow morning. Thank you for attending this class. Please do not forget to take the test at the end of this lesson. And I'll see you in the next Common Mistakes. Bye! Hello and welcome to Common Mistakes in German. If you are ready to learn one of the common mistakes, let's get started. Today we will learn one of the similar spelling but different meaning pronoun, and I will give examples to help you understand the subject better. Today we will learn the difference between Mann and der Mann. Let's start with Mann. Mann is an indefinite pronoun which means one or you, and it is used to generalize the rules, for example. Der Mann is a noun and it means man. When we are mentioning about someone who is man, then der Mann is used. Let's compare them. Mann symbolizes the older people, and when we want to express a rule, then Mann is used. But when we are mentioning a singular person who is man, then der Mann is used. Let's do some examples to understand the difference better. Hier darf man nicht rauchen means you are not allowed to smoke here. But I don't mean you, but all the people. It's a rule. That's why man is used to generalize this sentence. But when I say mein Mann raucht nicht, then it means my husband doesn't smoke. He is a person and he is man. That's why Mann is used. Another example, man muss an der Kasse bezahlen. You have to pay at the checkout. Here, you symbolize the old people. It's a rule. In this restaurant, you have to pay at the checkout. It's not possible to pay at the table. Der Mann hat die Rechnung an der Kasse bezahlt means the man paid the bill at the checkout. There is an action here, but there is no rule. We are expressing a situation. That's why der Mann is used. There is no generalizing here. Another one, wo kann man Geld abheben means where can you withdraw money? In this case, I am asking, is there any ATM near of the area? And where can I or where can someone withdraw money in this place? I am generalizing it. Mein Mann hat 100 Euro abgehoben means my husband has withdrawn 100 euros. Okay, we have learned the difference between Mann and der Mann. Now it's an activity time. I want you to pause the video and try to guess the answer. The answer can be Mann to generalize it or Mann as a person. Hier kann mit Kreditkarte bezahlen. Here you can pay by credit card. What do you think is the answer? Mann. Why? Because we are generalizing it. We don't say directly that you can pay here by credit card, but all the people. Did you speak to my husband? What do you think is the answer? Mann. Why? Because he is a person. That's why Mann must be used. Another one. My husband has been learning German for 3 years. What do you think is the answer? Mann. Why? Because we are talking about a person. That's why Mann must be used. And here, Mann also means husband. Don't forget about that. Another one, you have to work a lot to make money. What do you think is the answer? Let's check it out. Mann. Why? Because we don't say directly to you that you have to work a lot to make money, but for all the people. It's valid for all the people. That's why Mann, which is an indefinite pronoun, is used. To sum up, Mann is an indefinite pronoun and it is used to generalize something. For example, when we are expressing a rule, then Mann must be used. And it means you or one. Der Mann is a noun and it means man or husband. And it symbolizes a person. Thank you for attending this class. I hope the difference between Mann and der Mann is a bit understandable for you. Please do not forget to take the test at the end of this lesson and I'll see you in the next common mistakes. Bye! Hello and welcome to Common Mistakes in German. If you are ready to learn one of the common mistakes, let's get started. Today we will learn confused prepositions in accusative and dative case, and I will give examples to help you understand the subject better. Actually, it's an introduction lesson for these confused prepositions. We will do more exercises in the following lessons. Let's talk about at first what are prepositions. There are many prepositions in German and meanings of these prepositions may vary depending on the situation they are used. After some prepositions, only accusative can be used, but after some prepositions, only dative can be used. But there are some which can be used with both of them, which means they can be used with accusative, also with dative case. And these are called Wechsel prepositionen in German. So what are these Wechsel prepositionen? There are 9 different Wechsel prepositionen in German, and they are an, auf, neben, hinter, vor, über, in, zwischen, and unter. So, how can we decide on when we used accusative and when we used dative? Let's talk about it. If the sentence answers the question wohin, then after these prepositions, accusative case must be used. But when the sentence answers the question wo, then dative case must be used after these prepositions. That is the main difference. If we ask the sentence wohin, then we are looking for an action, for example, putting something to somewhere. But when we ask wo to the sentence, then we are looking for a location. That's the main difference. When there is an action in the sentence, then after this preposition, accusative must be used. When there is a location, then after this preposition, dative must be used. I hope the difference is clear now. Let's talk about the meaning of these prepositions. An means by. Neben means near. In means also in English. Hinter, behind. Vor, in front of. Zwischen, between. Über, over. Auf, on. Unter, under. As I said before, in this lesson, I just want to explain how the usage of accusative and dative case after these prepositions affect the meaning of the sentence. Unter den Stuhl means under the chair. If we don't use any verb, it sounds like it's under the chair. It gives location. It indicates location. But no, because after the preposition accusative is used, it indicates direction. There is an action here. We are putting something under the chair. That's why this part gives direction. Unter dem Stuhl also means under the chair. When we don't use any verb or when we don't make any sentences, then these two look similar, but the meaning is different. Why? Because it gives location. We are giving the location of the package. It's under the chair. Let's do another. In the Packung means into the package. It is not in the package. We are putting it into the package. There is a direction here. There is the action of putting something to somewhere. That's why after this preposition, accusative must be used. In der Packung means in the package, which gives location. So, we are giving a location of this object. That's why after the preposition, dative must be used. Let's do another example. Auf das Sofa means on the couch. But it does not give any location. There is an action here. We are putting something on the couch. But when I say auf dem Sofa, it also means in English on the couch, but it gives location. We know that it's in there. That is the main difference. To understand which case is used after the Vexel preposition, we have to ask questions. These questions can be wohin or wo. If we are answering wohin, then after these prepositions, accusative must be used. But if we answering the question wo, then after these prepositions, dative case must be used. If we are answering question wohin, it means there is an action here. We are putting something to somewhere. But if we are answering the question wo, it means there is a location here. We are giving location of something, the object. As I said in the beginning of this class, that was an introduction. In the following lessons, we will do more examples and learn the verbs that are used with these Wechsel prepositionen. Thank you for attending this class, and I hope the difference between accusative and dative case after the Wechsel prepositionen is a bit more understandable for you. Please do not forget to take another lessons to understand the context better. I'll see you in next common mistakes. Bye! Hello and welcome one of the common mistakes in German. If you're ready to learn one of the common mistakes, let's get started. Today we will learn one of the confused verbs in accusative and dative case, and I will give examples to help you understand the subject better. If you don't watch the previous video about Vexel prepositionen, please watch it first. Then come back to this lesson. If you have already watched, then let's get started. Today we will learn the difference between stellen and stehen. Stellen means to put. There is an action of placing the object. But stehen means to be or stand, and it gives location of the object. As you can see here, they are phonetically similar. Stellen, stehen. At first look, it is a little bit hard to understand the difference. It is also confused due to the accusative and dative case. They are not only phonetically similar, but also confused due to the accusative and dative case. In the previous lesson, we have talked about the Vexel prepositionen, and these are some of the verbs that are used with these prepositions. Stellen means to put and stehen means to stand, but these verbs cannot be used for all objects. The objects must be dimensional and vertical. For example, a package. For example, a glass. For example, a bottle or something like that. Let's do some examples to understand the usage of these verbs better. At first, I want to ask a question by using these verbs. As I said before, stellen means to put and it gives action. As you remember from the previous lesson, when there is an action here, then wohin must be used. Wohin stelle ich meinen Rucksack? Where do I put my backpack? I am asking about an action. Where should I put it? But stehen means to stand or to be, and it gives location. When there is a location there, then wo can be used. Wo steht mein Rucksack? It means, where is my backpack? Can you see the difference between these questions? When I use wohin, there is a direction here, there is an action. And stellen is used with wohin. And the sentence with the verb stellen answers the question wohin. Stehen gives location. That's why the sentence which includes stehen must answer the question wo. Let's answer these questions. Du kannst ihn auf den Teppich stellen. You can put it on the carpet. As you can see here, there is a direction, there is an action. I'm putting something on somewhere. That's why after the preposition, which is auf here, accusative case must be used. Normally, der Teppich, but here, in accusative case, den Teppich. In this sentence, ihn indicates the backpack. We know it because we have already asked the question. That's the answer. Steht auf dem Teppich means it's on the carpet. Now I'm giving location. I say where it is. That's why after the preposition, which is auf here, dative must be used. Der ist dem in dative case. In this sentence, indicates the backpack. Let's do more examples. Ich stelle die Vase in die Küche auf den Tisch. I'll put the vase in the kitchen on the table. There is action here. I'm putting something on somewhere. It's in the kitchen because we are giving direction. After this preposition, accusative must be used. It is also valid for this case, auf den Tisch. The article die does not change in accusative case. That's why in die Küche. But it's not valid for der. Der is den in accusative case. Die Vase steht in der Küche auf dem Tisch. Means the vase is in the kitchen on the table. Now there is a location. We are indicating the location of the object. That's why after the prepositions, dative must be used. Die Küche in dative case is der Küche, and der Tisch in dative case, dem Tisch. Okay, so far we have learned the difference between stehen and stellen. Now it's an activity time. I want you to pause the video and try to guess the answer. You won't only guess the verb, but also the article. The verb can be stehen or stellen. And in article part, you must decide on dative or accusative case. In English, he puts the cup on the sofa. What do you think is the answer? Stellt auf das Sofa. Why? Because when we think the meaning of this sentence, we see that there is an action here. We are putting something on somewhere. When there is an action, the question wohin must be asked, and to answer this question, stellen and accusative case must be used. Das Sofa, and das is also das in accusative case, that's why auf das Sofa. The other one, the cup is on the sofa. What do you think is the answer? Steht auf dem Sofa. Why? Because there is a location here. We are giving the location of the object. That's why the question wo must be asked. To answer this question, stehen must be used, which means to be or to stand for dimensional and vertical objects, and after the Vexel preposition, dative case must be used. Das is dem in dative case. That's why auf dem Sofa. Let's do another. I put the package in front of the door. What do you think is the answer? Ich stelle die Packung vor die Tür. Why? Because there is an action here. I am putting something in front of the somewhere. Stellen means to put, that's why it must be used, and after the preposition, accusative case must be used, because we are answering the question wohin. And die Tür is also die Tür in accusative case. The last one, the package is in front of the door. What do you think is the answer? Die Packung steht vor der Tür. As you can see here, we are giving location. We are saying where is the package. That's why stehen must be used. We are giving location. And because we are giving location, after the preposition, dative must be used. Die Tür is der Tür in dative case. Okay, in this lesson, we have learned the difference between stellen and stehen. These are two verbs. One of them gives action and the other one gives location. And these two verbs are used with Wechsel prepositionen. So, because stellen gives action, after these prepositions, accusative case must be used. And stehen gives location, that's why after these prepositions, dative case must be used. I hope the difference between stellen and stehen is a bit more understandable for you. Please do not forget to take the test at the end of this lesson. I'll see you in the next common mistakes. Bye! Hello and welcome to Common Mistakes in German. If you are ready to learn one of the common mistakes, let's get started. Today, we will learn one of the confused verbs in accusative and dative case, and I will give examples to help you understand the subject better. Today, we will learn the difference between Sie legen and liegen. Let's get started. Legen means to put or to lay. It's a reflexive verb, that's why when I lie myself down, then sich legen must be used. And it indicates action. I'm putting something to somewhere, or I am laying something to somewhere. Liegen means to be or to lie, and it indicates location. They're phonetically similar. Repeat after me. Sie legen and liegen. That's why they are commonly confused, but that is not the only reason. They are also confused due to the accusative and dative case. Both of them are used with Wechsel prepositionen. We have talked about what Wechsel prepositionen are in the previous lessons. Because sich legen indicates action, that's why after the Wechsel prepositionen, accusative must be used. And because liegen indicates location, that's why after the Wechsel prepositionen, dative case must be used. And there is one more important thing in these verbs. What is it? The objects do not have a significant dimension, and the objects must be horizontal. For example, a paper, a formula, or a book. That is the main difference of these verbs between stellen and stehen. Let's do some examples to understand the subject better. Ich lege mich auf das Bett means I lie down on the bed or I am lying down on the bed. There is an action here. Now I am standing up, but I have an intention to lie down on the bed. That's why, in this case, lege must be used and I am lying down by myself. That's why sich legen is used here. After the Wechsel prepositionen, accusative is used. Why? Because legen gives action. When there is an action, then after the Wechsel prepositionen, accusative must be used. Don't forget about that. Another example, ich liege auf dem Bett means I'm lying on the bed, which means I'm already there, I'm lying on. That's why it gives location. Auf is Wechsel preposition here, that's why after this preposition, dative must be used. Der Bett, dem Bett. Let's do another. Kannst du bitte mein Handy auf den Tisch legen? Can you please put my phone on the table? A phone is also non-dimensional object, that's why legen is used for this object, and we are lying or we are putting the phone here. That's why not sich legen, but mein Handy. That's why our object here is mein Handy, not myself. And let's focus on the accusative and dative case. Because there is an action here, after this preposition, accusative must be used. Der Tisch, and in accusative case, den Tisch. Let's do another. Es liegt schon auf dem Tisch. It's already on the table. So, we are giving location here. Where is my phone? On the table. That's why liegen is used, and after the preposition, which is auf here, dative is used. Der Tisch, dem Tisch. Let's do another. Wohin hast du meine Socken gelegt? Where did you put my socks? Where are they? I have no idea. Sie liegen unter dem Bett. They're under the bed. Don't forget about that. The second one is not the answer of the first one because there is an action here. The answer includes also the verb legen, not liegen. When I ask, wo sind meine Socken? Where are my socks? Then liegen must be used. These are two different examples. This one is not the answer of this one. Don't forget about that. When I say sie liegen unter dem Bett, then I'm giving location. That's why after the preposition, which is unter here, dative must be used. Let's do another one. Du hast deine Brille auf den Stuhl gelegt. You put your glasses on the chair. There is an action here. I'm putting something on somewhere. But because the object has no significant dimension, legen must be used. And after the preposition, accusative case must be used. Der Stuhl, den Stuhl. The other one, die Brille liegt auf dem Stuhl, means the glasses are on the chair, and it has also no significant dimension. That's why liegen must be used. And after the preposition, dative must be used because it indicates location. Okay, so far we have learned the difference between sich legen and liegen. Now it's an activity time. I want you to pause the video and try to guess the answer. You have to guess two different things. One of them is the verb, which can be legen or liegen. And the other one is the form of the name after the preposition. It can be accusative or dative. In English, you should lie down on the sofa. What do you think is the answer? Auf das Sofa legen. Why? Because we are lying down ourselves on the sofa. There is an action here. We are not lying right now. We have an intention about that. That's why legen must be used, and after the preposition, accusative must be used. Don't forget about that. Sich legen means lie down. Another one? She is lying on the sofa. What do you think is the answer? Sie liegt auf dem Sofa. Why? Because now she is on the sofa and she is lying. That's why liegen must be used. We are giving location here. And when there is a location, after the preposition, dative case must be used. Das Sofa is dem Sofa in dative case. Another one, he puts the baby on the bed. What do you think is the answer? Legt das Baby auf das Bett. Why? Because there is an action here. The baby is not on the bed, but he will put him on the bed. There is an action. That's why legen must be used, and when there is an action, then after the preposition, accusative case must be used. Das Bett is also das Bett in accusative case. The last one, the forms are on the floor. What do you think is the answer? Let's check it out. Die Formulare liegen auf dem Boden. Why? Because they are on the floor. We are giving location. That's why liegen must be used, and after the preposition, dative case must be used. To sum up, we have learned in this class the difference between sich legen and liegen. Legen means to put or to lay. Sich legen means lie down, and it gives direction. Liegen means to be or to lie, and it gives location. Both of them are used with Vexel prepositionen, but because sich legen gives direction, after the preposition, accusative case must be used. And liegen gives location, that's why after the preposition, dative case must be used. Thank you for attending this class. I hope the difference between sich legen and liegen is clear for you. Please do not forget to take the test at the end of this lesson, and I'll see you in the next common mistakes. Bye!